Hey everybody, it has been almost 6 months since I returned to the States from my winter in Baja. Spent 2 months there, basically the end of December through the end of February. And I ran Baja and Baja Sur. Had some mechanical issues, so I didn't run up the Pacific side off-road like I'd planned. But I gotta tell you, all the words of the experienced travelers who have done Baja, they gave me advice and shared their experiences with me. Everything they said rang true about the place, the people. Just stunning, amazing, really amazing. And virtually everything that people who had never been there before, who seemed to have a lot to say about traveling in Mexico, a lot of their stuff that was based in media they've watched or read, it was all bullshit. It just was. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with the media in this country, but they just can't cut Mexico a break, that's for sure. Anyway, I would encourage anybody who has the opportunity to travel Baja, especially overland. I mean, it's an overlander paradise. The food is unbelievably affordable and amazingly great. The people are kind and friendly and helpful, and you can spend the night virtually anywhere. If you're an overlander, I mean, my gosh, I paid for 5 nights in campgrounds over the course of 60 days. And I think the most expensive camp I paid for cost me $10 a night, US. The others were like 5, and I think 7. And for that, you're getting a shower and laundry and all this stuff, and Wi-Fi, power if you need it. I don't use any hookups, so it's a non-issue for me. But it's so affordable. It was cheaper for me to be in Mexico for 2 months, by far, probably by 50%, versus 2 months of living in the States on the West Coast. Just phenomenal. And one of the things that was most lovely about it was how no matter what community you rolled into, because I rolled through some tiny villages on the Baja Divide Trail. I rolled through some, decent sized towns like Mulegé and, Santa Rosalia. What else? San Ignacio, loved that. I mean, Loreto, good size, towns that are based a lot, their economy is based a lot on tourism, of course, but the community, a sense of community in those places is phenomenal. And I'm not sure if it's because in Mexico, the government's not providing everything you need. There aren't a million services and such. So people are used to taking care of themselves. They don't expect anything of, agencies or handouts or government. I mean, they have socialized medicine there, so all these small communities have a hospital and medical facilities, but they just take care of each other, and it's so evident. Even in the way they travel. Like, I'd be on remote beaches or even beaches close to a town that I wouldn't consider going out onto for the night if I didn't have a 4x4. Because I know I'm probably going to get stuck. You come out here with a 2-wheel drive, very high likelihood you're going to get stuck. So being an independent type American, I'm geared up. I got a 4-wheel drive, very capable air compressor to re-air up my tires after letting air out down so I can get across the sand. Recovery equipment to get myself unstuck if I do get stuck. Man, they go out there in their little 2-wheel drive beater cars or pickups. Almost nobody has 4-wheel drive, but they never travel alone. They're always out there with a full cab of people, a full crew, and they get stuck. It's no big deal. Everybody piles out. They push them out. It's a completely different world in terms of, everybody expects to help each other out. Just beautiful, and so lighthearted, and it really slows you down and lightens you up. It's just wonderful. And so I traveled a lot of super, super remote areas on the Baja Divide Trail where I didn't see anybody for days at a time. And I was the only solo off-road, overlander traveler that I saw. The other overlanders I saw anytime I was on remote trails, there were at least 2 of them, if not 3 or 4 vehicles. And I get why now, because I went through some areas that really pushed this truck to the max. Unexpectedly difficult stuff. And boy, if you have a breakdown, there's no cell signal out there. I mean, I have a satellite communication device. So yeah, I could call and let somebody know where I'm at, but there ain't no help getting to me out there. Not for God knows how long. And you are really out there on your own. And in some of these spots where I'd see trails on the map, I expected, well, locals must travel because there's little fishing villages out on the coast here and here and here. They must travel these roads. Well, no, they don't, because the roads are awful. And they could just jump in their boat. They're all fishing villages. They'll jump in their boat, bomb up the coast for half an hour to Bahia de Los Angeles, load up supplies, and bomb back. I'd roll through these little villages, and they have like maybe one truck or one car, because there's nowhere to drive. But they all got their boats. Just totally different deal. So yeah, when you're on the Baja Divide Trail down there, which is also the Baja 1000 race course, you're very much on your own, especially if you go solo like I did. I mean, I would go solo again, but I've had to make a lot of repairs to the truck on the way. I've upgraded since, and now I know what I'm dealing with. So it's not like I wouldn't do it again, but it was definitely humbling, because you're in very vast expanses of desert, saguaro forest virtually, and it's unforgiving if something goes wrong. If you don't have the part to fix it, you're in a lot of trouble. So literally scary at first to me. I've never been that remote. I've never been that alone. And the first couple nights out like that were really, whoa. So anyway, wonderful experience. Have to say, I loved Baja Sur the most. The communities and the terrain down there when it started getting lush. Just unbelievably beautiful. These little river oases of towns and villages. Oh my gosh. And like I said, as an overlander, you can park anywhere. Even if you're in a car, you can spend the night in your vehicle anywhere. Even in the big, La Paz was the biggest city I was in. And I spent all my nights on the Malecon, which is this $1 million, it's right there on the water. It's their big drive. Excuse me there. It's their big cruising spot. It's where all the big hotels are and expensive places. And here I am parked down there right across the street from the beach. And it's no problem. Totally legal as long as you fit in the spots, which hella fits. So that's nice. But let's see. And a few years ago when I was at overland rallies and talking to experienced overlanders about what my plans are to travel with this truck, they all said the same thing. They said, you're going to have the easiest time at border crossings and with military checkpoints. It says, because they're going to love this thing, this vintage truck. It's old military. And they were right. I absolutely got crazy preferential treatment. Very cursory inspections that were almost a joke. All they want to know about was the truck and take pictures with the truck and me and their whole crew. I couldn't take pictures of us all, which was a bummer. I wanted those, but just this thing worked like magic, And of course, I got nothing to worry about anyway. I got all the time, whatever they would want to take time-wise. They can take everything out if they want. I don't have to worry. I don't carry anything that's, not allowed. So very stress-free for me. And really, the only people I've talked to have had any kind of trouble overlanding down there, they had like cannabis creams, or they had something that could be found that, of course, was a problem. And that's when you get into issues with, do you grease palms or do you take the ticket? What do you do? So, but I never have to worry about that because I'm squeaky clean. Anyway, I would encourage anybody who's watching this, who's ever want to do it, have no fear. It is absolutely delightful. You got to watch, gas stations can be sparse for a few hundred miles. You got to watch your fuel burn. Make sure you got plenty of fuel, carrying capacity for your vehicle. But boy, it's just a delight, and everyone you meet is just so sweet. The only people I met who weren't a joy were American tourists. They were the only ones that I ever came across that I was like, wow, I'm embarrassed. And I'm not saying all of them, but quite a few acting like some real arrogant pups at times. Thankfully, I wasn't around that much, mostly in La Paz. That was pretty much the only big touristy city where I spent a lot of time, because I got there early and had to stay put because I had a mechanical issue I was working on and my whole plan shifted. But anyway, the locals, wonderful. And one last thing, as far as the mission, was always to do portraits for families in shelters, as you all know. Well, they don't have any shelters down there. Even talked to some English-speaking, locals about it, and they're like, no, families. If a woman has to leave her husband and take her children, she goes home. That's just the way it is. The state, and there aren't private agencies doing that. I mean, I found an orphanage in La Paz, and also an orphanage in Loreto, I believe. But, that's not my niche, and there were COVID restrictions in place anyway, but actual, homeless shelters, no. And, it's just that people go home, or their families take care of, if they have family members who don't have a place to be or need help, you go home and family takes care of you. And the other thing is, in virtually all these cities I was in, large to small towns, it didn't matter, there were a lot of ramshackle homes that had just been abandoned that clearly people would just go crashing for the night. I saw, in the whole 2 months, I probably saw 5 people that clearly lived on the street. Really rare, because everybody can find shelter, it appears there. So, but in any case, I just feel really honored to have gotten to meet the people I did and work on my Espanol. Needs a lot more work. My plan is to go back in, not this coming winter, 22-23, but probably 23-24. And by then I should be speaking a lot more fluent Spanish. I'm going to set up, I've changed some things I do and gotten some gear and kind of carrying more stuff now, so that I can set up just free family portrait shoot in one of their little, every 3 or 4 blocks, they've got a little communal space, like a little triangle of a park, even in the poorest sections of towns. I'm just going to set up to do portraits in those, and I'll have enough Spanish-speaking skills by then to explain and just give it to them. So that's a plan for when I return. But anyway, it was fantastic. There's way more than I can possibly tell you in a video, and anybody who has any specific questions, please ask them below in the comments and I will answer. And if you want to direct message me, you can do that through my Instagram at jackdaw.love, and I'll be happy to answer your questions there too. Anyway, just wanted to say a little bit about Baja, and I'm actually going to see if I can't drop some stills into this video. Keep our fingers crossed so I can work that out. If the video doesn't have it, then I didn't work it out. But I'm going to try. Anyway, wishing you all a great weekend. It's been a beautiful week here in Seattle. I've had a lot of time to catch up on a lot of things after the chaos of last week with the breakdowns and with the photo shoots, and I'm back to shooting as of next week. I've got 2 photo shoots for Jackdaw, so we're going. All right, catch you later.